Hello and welcome back. My name is Dr. Felix Oyeleye, and this is episode 2 of our hands-on SPSS training series. In the previous episode, we explored the SPSS interface and created our very first dataset from scratch. Today, we are moving one step further. I will show you how to enter your data efficiently and how to import data from Excel into SPSS, which is what most researchers and students do in the real-life projects. By the end of this video, you will know how to set up your data correctly and prepare it for analysis. Let's get right into it. Let's begin with manual data entry. Now let's go to our variable view and define our variables, just like we did before. For example, let's create 3 variables. Number 1, let's start with age. So we enter our age. Under type, we indicate it as numeric. And again, we go to label and we indicate it as age of respondent. Age of respondent. Okay? Then under measurement, here we are going to indicate scale. Don't forget that numeric variables are usually measured on scale. So let's go to the second row where we enter our second variable. Now let's enter gender as the second variable. Under the type, we leave it as numeric. And then we come to label where we indicate gender as the label. Now, it's important to understand that whenever we enter categorical variable like gender, we always keep a code book just handy beside us. Since we have assigned 1 to male and 2 to female, then we have to enter that under our value label. So we click on label, we say we have assigned 1 to what? To male. Then we click add. We have also assigned 2 to female. Then we also click add. Now when we are done adding our value label, we click OK. Now the next thing to do is to move to the measurement column where we are going to indicate nominal. Our categorical variable here is indicated as a nominal variable. Now let's create one more variable where we enter score. Okay? Under type, we're going to leave it as numeric. While under label, we are going to indicate knowledge score. Knowledge score as the label. The label gives a clear description of our variable. Now the next thing to do is to move head on to the measurement column where we are going to indicate scale, since our variable score is a numeric variable. Now the next thing to do now is to switch over to the data view, just at the bottom left. Now, here we are going to attempt to enter a few of our data sets. Don't forget that each row represents one respondent. Okay? So, we're going to attempt to enter 10 records for practice. Let's say we enter 23 for the first age, and we enter this individual as male, and then we say the score is 78. For the second row, we enter 25, and then we indicate female, and then we put a score of 68. For the third row, we enter 22, and we indicate it as male, and we add a score of 58. For the fourth row, we enter 26, and we indicate it as female, and then we enter a score of 68. For the fifth row, we enter age as 24, and we indicate it as a male, and then a score of 58. For the sixth row, we enter 27, we indicate it as a female, and then we enter a score of 67. For the seventh row, we're entering an age of 25, then we indicate male 1, and then we put a score of 70. For the next row, we add 24, we put 2 as female, and then we enter a score of 72. For the next row, we put age to be 23, and then we have male as 1, and then we enter a score of 60. Now, once you have entered your data set, we will go ahead and save our file. You move up to the top right corner, click on File, and click Save As. Then you want to choose a name. Number one, you want to choose a location to save your document. So let's say we want to save it in desktop. We select desktop, and then we want to choose a name to save our document. So you will go ahead and save it. Save the name of your file as manual underscore entry, and then you want to click on save. You're going to see this output dialog box that will pop up. You may as well close that because you have already saved your document. Let's do something more realistic. Most researchers already have data collected in Excel, maybe from a questionnaire, survey, or even field data. SPSS can easily import that, but it's important to prepare your Excel file correctly. Name student underscore survey, and we will be using this even for the demonstration. Now you will notice that there are key points that we must take care of before importing our Excel file into SPSS. The first row should contain the variable names. So we have the ID, age, gender, course, satisfaction, and study underscore hour. There should be no space or spaces or special character in the name of our variables. Each column represents our variable, and each row represents our respondent. Now it's important to avoid merging column or cell, or leaving any row blank, or having a hidden column in our data set in Excel. Now let's import our Excel data into SPSS. Now you go to the top left hand corner where you have File, and you click on it. Then you go to Open, and then you select Data. Now when you select Data, it's important to locate where your data set is in your computer. So when you click on document, our data set that we are going to be using, which is the student_survey, is under download. So I click on download. So when I click on download, you will notice there is nothing in our open data dialog box. Now we have to first of all select the name of our file, the file of interest. So we're going to click on file type here and come down here and select Excel. So the moment we select Excel file type, you can see the different data sets under our location of interest. Now the one of interest is our student_survey. So we'll select it and then we click open. Now at this point, it's important you just go ahead to select OK if you have done the necessary correction in the Excel sheet as I mentioned earlier on. So we can now see our data set that appears very clean in SPSS. So it is important that proper orientation of our data set is ensured in Excel before importing it into our SPSS. Now we can move on to the variable view and look at how our data set is outlined. Okay, so from the look of things, our data set is may need a few adjustments. For the ID, it is correct. For the age, it is in order. Gender, we are going to change this to string. Change it to numeric rather. And then we are going to enter the labels. For ease of analysis, it is important to change all our data set type, our variable type, to be numeric. You also want to enter the description of the label, age of respondents, just same way that we did in previous data sets. And then we go to the measurement. The measurement must also be corrected. For age, age is numeric and is considered scale. Gender is a categorical variable and is considered nominal. Course can also be considered as nominal. Satisfaction is ordinal. Okay, so we change satisfaction to ordinal. While study hour, we also change that to scale because it is a numeric variable. Ensure that that our data set is error-free. This will help SPSS to recommend the appropriate analysis for our data set. Now, if you are done with that, the next thing to do is to save your file. That way, you can always return to the clean version without altering your original Excel file. You can also export your SPSS data back to Excel using the same file export Excel. Now we're going to exploit that when we discuss reporting results. So let's go ahead to save our data set, our file, SPSS file, so that we can return to it subsequent time. And this time around, we're going to save it as practice underscore student. And then we decide where we want the data set to be saved. Let's say I've chosen desktop. Then I'm going to click on save. Now our data set is saved and we can return it back. We can return back to it for subsequent analysis. Well done. Now you have learned how to enter data manually and how to import data from Excel into SPSS. Two foundational skills for any researcher or analyst. In the next episode, we will learn how to define and label variables properly, add value labels, and handle missing values. The key to making your analysis smooth and meaningful. Now, it is time for your assignment for this episode. The first thing you are going to do is to create a short data set in Excel with 4 to 5 variables and at least 10 rows. Number 2, you want to attempt to import the data set into SPSS using the method we have just demonstrated. Number 3, you also want to check for correct variable types and measurements in the data set that you have imported to SPSS. This is very important so that SPSS can perform the right analysis. Now, it's important to practice this until you can import your data sets without errors. It is one of the most essential SPSS skills that you require. If this video helped you, like, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me what kind of data you will be using. Health, social sciences, or education. I would love to feature your data sets in a future video. Until then, my name is Dr. Felix Oyeleye. It is still research and statistics.